He woke up to a blinding white light. At first, he thought he was dreaming. The walls around him were smooth, spotless, and curved in ways he had never seen. Everything smelled faintly of something sweet, almost metallic. He blinked, trying to remember where he was. But his mind was empty. Nothing. No memory of how he got here. Panic began to creep in. He tried to move, but something strange happened. His body felt lighter, almost like floating. He tried to speak, but no sound came out at first. Then, a soft voice echoed from somewhere nearby. "Good morning," it said. The voice was calm, soothing, and yet it made his skin crawl. He turned and saw her. She was standing across the room. Her skin shimmered slightly, not quite human. Her eyes were large, deep, and unblinking. She wore a uniform that looked like a nurse's outfit, but with metallic threads that glinted under the light. She tilted her head, smiling softly. "Who am I?" he finally managed to say. His voice sounded weak to him. "You are safe," she replied. "Do not be afraid. You are ours now." The words made no sense. He shook his head, trying to make sense of the situation. "Yours? I don't understand." She stepped closer. Every movement was smooth, almost hypnotic. He felt a shiver run down his spine. She smiled, and it was like she knew something he didn't. Then, on a nervous impulse, he tried to make light of the tension. He forced a shaky laugh. "I guess that makes us married," he said, more as a joke than anything else. Her eyes narrowed, and she leaned closer. Her lips moved, almost imperceptibly. "You are mine now," she whispered. His stomach dropped. The joke was no longer funny. Her words were not a joke. There was something in them, heavy, binding. He wanted to step back, but his feet felt glued to the floor. He looked around desperately. The walls had no doors, no windows, nothing, only her, and the soft of machines he hadn't noticed before. Each machine had tiny lights, blinking rhythmically. Some emitted a low, vibrating sound. What is this place?" he asked, his voice trembling. She tilted her head, studying him like a scientist examining a specimen. "This is a place for healing, a place for bonding. You are safe here. But remember, once a bond is made, it cannot be broken." The word bond echoed in his mind. He swallowed hard. "Bond, what do you mean?" She took his hand. Her touch was warm, almost electric. "It is simple," she said. "Here, words have power. What is spoken can become reality. And when a bond is spoken, it is permanent." He tried to pull his hand away, but she held it firmly. Fear surged through him. His mind raced. He had to find a way out, to escape, to understand. But how? Where was he? Who were these beings? Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed along the walls. He jumped back, stumbling. The nurse did not move. She only watched, calm and collected, as if she had expected this. "They found you," she said softly. "They are coming." "Who? Who is coming?" he asked, panic rising. "They are not like you," she replied. "They do not understand humans, but they know you are dangerous." "Dangerous? Me?" He shook his head, confusion and fear twisting in his chest. "I don't understand." Her eyes softened for a moment. "You will. Soon enough. But for now, you must trust me. You are mine." The doors! He tried them again. Nothing. The machines continued their low hum. He felt trapped, helpless, and exposed. His mind raced through every possible escape. Windows? None. Vents? Too high. Security? He didn't even know who or what was outside. The nurse approached again, her step silent. She leaned close. "Do not struggle. It will only make it harder for you. Acceptance is easier." He wanted to scream, to run, to fight, but every instinct screamed that he was not in control here. She had power over him. Something about her words, her presence, made him hesitate. In that moment, he realized something terrifying. He was not alone. He wasn't just being watched. He was being studied. Every movement, every breath, every reaction was being noted, recorded. "You humans," she said, almost laughing softly. So unpredictable, so emotional, yet so fascinating. He felt anger rising, but it was mixed with fear. "Why me? Why am I here? She looked into his eyes, and he felt a strange pull, a connection that made his head spin. Because you are special, she said. Because you are human. He blinked. Special? Human? I don't understand. You will, she whispered. Soon, you will understand the power you hold and the danger it brings. But for now, you are mine. The hum of the machines grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. He looked around, desperate for something, anything, a clue, a weapon, a way out. But all he saw was her calm face, unbroken by fear or concern. Panic clawed at him. He sank to the floor, trying to calm himself. Every thought collided with the next. How did he get here? What did she mean by bond? And most of all, how could he survive in a place where words would bind him? The nurse knelt beside him, her face close. Do not fear, human, she said softly. Soon you will understand. Soon you will accept. And then there will be no more struggle. He shivered. The words felt like chains, invisible but heavy. He wanted to argue, to resist, to run, but the room itself seemed to hold him in place. A soft light flickered from one of the machines. He noticed symbols, strange shapes that glowed faintly. Some seemed to respond to his movements, others to her presence. The room was alive, and he was trapped inside it. He tried to remember something, anything, from his past. Friends? Family? Earth? But it was all a blur. Only fear remained, sharp and cold. She stood up slowly, her eyes never leaving him. You will learn, she said, and when you do, you will see that this bond is not punishment. It is protection. Yours and mine. He wanted to scream, wanted to fight, wanted to escape. But in that moment, he realized something chilling. Even if he ran, even if he tried to resist, something deep inside him had already answered her words. I don't know what you mean, he whispered. She smiled a slow, deliberate smile. You will know soon enough. The alarms faded slightly, leaving only a low hum. The lights dimmed. The nurse stood, serene, watching it with those unblinking eyes. And in that quiet, oppressive moment, he understood one terrifying truth. He was no longer free. He was hers, and the words that had been spoken could never be undone. He sat on the smooth, cold floor, his mind spinning. Every second in that white room made his pulse faster. The nurse's words echoed in his head. You are mine now. He could still feel her touch lingering on his hand, like an invisible tether pulling him closer. He didn't understand. Words had power, bonds, protection, ownership. Each thought was stranger than the last. He tried to stand, to move, but something invisible seemed to weigh him down. It was as if the room itself resisted him. Suddenly, the nurse's voice came from the wall, not from where she stood, but somewhere behind him. Come, it is time you learned. He turned, but she had already vanished. Panic surged again. He felt the walls, desperate to find a door, a passage, anything. And then, slowly, a panel slid open, silent as a whisper. A corridor stretched ahead, glowing faintly in pale blue. The air smelled sharper here, sterile but tinged with something organic. He stepped forward cautiously, every nerve screaming. The corridor seemed endless. Soft lights flickered along the walls, illuminating strange symbols etched into them. They looked like writing, but moving. Shapes shifted subtly when he looked away and changed when he returned his gaze. It was alive. From the corner of his eye, he noticed figures, tall, thin, and covered in pale, metallic-like skin. They did not speak, but their eyes followed him. Every movement he made was mirrored, studied, noted. Fear wrapped tighter around his chest. A sound came from ahead, soft but firm. A footstep, then another. The nurse emerged again, walking slowly toward him, as if she had been waiting for him all along. You have questions, she said. I will answer what I can. But you must understand, answers may not bring comfort. He swallowed hard. Why am I here? What do you mean by bond? She nodded, as if expecting the question. On this planet, words are more than sounds. They are agreements, promises, commands, and some words bind life itself. He blinked. Bind life? That's impossible. She smiled softly. Humans are unique. Your species is dangerous and rare, strong, unpredictable. When a human speaks certain words, even in jest, they can change reality. That is why you are here. That is why I claimed you. He shook his head. Claim me? You mean you own me? Her eyes softened, but her voice was firm. Not ownership as you think. Protection. Guidance. Bonding is survival here. Without it, you would be lost. He wanted to argue, wanted to resist, but something in her voice, in the calm certainty of her eyes, made him pause. He had no memory, no allies, no weapons. He was completely at their mercy. Suddenly, a panel opened on the wall beside them. Two alien figures emerged, taller and more imposing than the nurse. Their skin shimmered with a dark, oily sheen. Their eyes were black and reflective, like polished obsidian. She is your guide, one said, his voice deep and hollow, almost vibrating through the air. I am the observer. I oversee the bonds. And you are the subject. He swallowed hard. Subject? What do you mean? The other figure stepped forward. Your words have power. You spoke, married. That word is a bond in this place. You did not understand its meaning, but it binds you to her. He took a step back, panic rising. I was joking. The first figure tilted its head. Joke or not, the law does not care. You are now linked. Your life, your actions, even your thoughts are tied to hers. His heart pounded. Tied? How? Why? The nurse stepped closer again. Because humans are dangerous. You cannot survive here alone. You are unpredictable. The bond keeps you safe and keeps others safe from you. He stared at her, confusion and anger mingling. Safe? I don't want to be safe. I want to leave. The observer's eyes glimmered. You cannot. Escape is meaningless. Bonds are law. Law cannot be broken. He felt a cold wave of fear wash over him. Law, bonds, commands that could shape reality? He had always thought of words as weak, powerless. Now they were chains. He was trapped in something bigger than himself. The nurse knelt in front of him again. You must understand, she said softly. This is our world. Words here are reality. The council enforces the laws. The bonds are sacred. You spoke them, you are now part of it. He shook his head. I don't belong here. I'm human. Earth my home. Her eyes softened. Your home is gone. Your life is gone. For now, you exist here. And what exists here obeys the law. A sudden vibration ran through the floor. The lights flickered, casting long shadows. Alarms blared in the distance. Figures moved quickly down the corridor, some whispering, others gesturing. The nurse's expression did not change. Calm, collected. They are coming for you, she said. The council knows a human is among us. They fear what you could do, what you already have done. What have I done? He asked, voice shaking. I haven't done anything. Exactly, she said. But that is why you are dangerous. Humans are unpredictable, powerful. The council wants to control you or destroy you. He felt a surge of anger mixed with fear. I won't let them. I'll fight. The nurse shook her head. Fight? You do not know what you face. The bond protects you, guides you. It is not punishment, though it may feel like it. You will learn, and in learning, you may survive. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. Every instinct screamed to run, to escape, to resist. But now he understood resistance was meaningless here. Only understanding, only learning, only surviving could save him. The observers stepped back, their attention drawn elsewhere. The corridor opened into a larger chamber. It was filled with beings like the nurse, some standing, some moving with purpose. Machines hummed along the walls, monitoring, scanning, analyzing. The room pulsed with energy, alive with the quiet rhythm of controlled chaos. This is where you will learn, the nurse said, where you will understand the rules of this world, the power of words, and the danger of being human. He looked around. Everything was alien, yet precise, beautiful in its own strange way. But every inch of it screamed control. Every movement, every sound. Every glance reminded him that he was not free. Not yet. Follow me, she said. And he did, because he had no choice. His legs moved almost automatically, drawn forward by curiosity, fear, and the strange pull to bond. As they walked, he asked almost quietly, "What happens if I resist?" She paused, her eyes meeting his. Resistance is expected. It is natural. But here, the law is absolute. Words bind. Actions are consequences. Every choice you make is watched, measured, and controlled. A chill ran through him. Every instinct screamed danger. But beneath the fear, beneath the panic, a strange thought took root. Maybe, just maybe he could learn to use this. Maybe humans, unpredictable as they were, could turn this law into an advantage. The nurse glanced at him, as if reading the thought before it even formed. Her lips curved into a subtle smile. "You are human," she said. "You will surprise us all." He swallowed hard, trying to calm the storm of thoughts in his head. The corridor stretched endlessly, filled with strange symbols and glowing machines. The hum of energy was almost hypnotic, and somewhere deep in his mind, he knew this was only the beginning, because on this world, words were more than words. Words were power, and he was about to discover just how dangerous a human could be. He walked behind a nurse through the endless corridors, his heart pounding. Every step echoed unnaturally, as if the walls themselves were listening. The strange symbols along the walls shimmered faintly, reacting to his presence. He tried to memorize them, but they shifted too quickly. It was as if the place was alive, and every pulse of the energy around him whispered, "You do not belong here." "Why me?" he asked suddenly, his voice low but sharp. "Why am I here, really? What makes me so special?" The nurse glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "Special, yes, but not in the way you think." She walked on, her footsteps perfectly quiet. "You humans are rare. Your kind is unpredictable, strong, dangerous. You do not yet understand the magnitude of what that means." He frowned. "Dangerous? To whom? To you? To the others? To everyone," she said softly. "Even yourself." They entered a larger chamber. It was circular, high-ceilinged, and filled with beings he had never seen before. Some were tall and skeletal, with glowing veins running across their skin. Others had multiple eyes that moved independently, scanning everything. Machines hummed with quiet energy, and a strange blue glow bathed the entire space. "This is the council," she said. "They govern this world, and they fear you." He froze. "They fear me? Why? I've done nothing." She looked at him steadily. "Because humans are unpredictable. Every human has potential far beyond what most species can imagine. You can destroy, create, survive, and adapt in ways they cannot. That is why the council wanted to control you or eliminate you." He felt a chill. Control? Eliminate? I'm just me. I don't even understand this world. The nurse's gaze softened. "That is why I claimed you. You would not have survived alone. But now you have guidance. You have protection. And you have power you do not yet recognize." Before he could respond, the chamber shifted. Transparent screens rose from the floor, displaying images of humans, men, women, children, throughout history, across Earth. Some were soldiers, some scientists, some explorers. Each frame glowed with strange energy. "These are your kind," the nurse said. "Every human ever known to this universe has left a mark. You may not realize it, but even your species' weakest actions resonate far beyond your home world." He watched, mesmerized, as the screen showed humans surviving impossible situations. One image depicted a lone human in a war-torn city, standing firm against an overwhelming alien force. Another showed a scientist unlocking a technology far beyond the aliens' comprehension. "They fight, adapt, endure," she said. "Even in jest, your words carry weight. Your intentions, you will shape reality more than you know." He swallowed hard, his chest tight. "But I'm just me. How could I possibly?" The nurse stepped closer. "Exactly. You think small. That is your advantage. The council expects humans to act predictably, but your kind rarely does. That is why they fear you. That is why they need to control you. And that is why you will surprise us all. Suddenly, alarms blared again. Red lights flashed around the chamber. The council's members stirred, their many eyes focusing on him. A deep, resonant voice filled the room. The human has arrived. Containment is priority. No deviation permitted. Panic surged in him. Containment? Wait, what are you going to do? The nurse's hand found his again, guiding him. They fear you. That is natural. You must show them. Humans are not to be feared lightly. Not through words, not through weapons, but through will. He stared at her. Will? What do you mean? Action, she whispered. Humans are known for it. The council cannot predict what a human will do. That is the greatest power you hold. Learn it, understand it, control it, and you will be unstoppable. He tried to calm his racing thoughts. His mind was spinning. Every memory of Earth, of his life, of normal human fears, now colliding with this alien reality. His pulse raced. He felt trapped, powerless, yet something deep inside him flickered. Curiosity. Then, show me, he said quietly. Teach me how. The nurse nodded, and the chamber shifted again. The walls opened, revealing a massive training arena, like nothing he'd ever seen. Gravity shifted subtly, making movement strange. Platforms floated in midair. Energy fields pulsed across the floor. Alien instructors, all different in appearance, observed silently from above. This is where humans learn their limits, the nurse explained. Here, you will discover what your kind is capable of. You may be bound by words, but your actions are yours alone. That is the test. He stepped forward cautiously. The floor responded to his movement, glowing beneath his feet. A sudden pulse of energy flared around him, forcing him to stumble. Panic threatened to overtake him, but he remembered the nurse's words. Action will control. He focused. Breathing deep, he took another step, feeling the energy shift under him. Slowly, he began to move with purpose. Each step more confident, each breath steadier. You see, she said softly, you are already beginning. Humans always adapt. Then, without warning, the arena erupted. Energy constructs formed around him. Strange, alien shapes moving unpredictably. He realized this was not just training. It was a test of instinct, courage, and reaction. He dodged a swinging construct. Another shot toward him. He ducked, rolled, and felt his hands brush against a control panel on the floor. The energy around him responded, bending slightly. He didn't understand how, but he realized it listened to him. His focus, his intent, his will, it shaped the arena. The nurse watched silently. Do you feel it? She asked. Yes, he said, breathless. It obeys me. Not obey, she corrected softly. Respond. Humans do not command the world. They influence it, subtly, unpredictably. That is the difference. That is why the council fears you. He blinked, feeling something new rising within him. Power. Not the kind that can hurt, not yet, but potential. The ability to survive, to act, to exist on his terms. The arena shifted again, more complex. Constructs moved faster, smarter. His heart raced. Sweat dripped down his face. He stumbled, almost fell, but caught himself. Slowly, he began to move not just to survive, but to anticipate. Every step, every breath, every thought became sharper, faster. And then, for the first time, he realized he was learning, not just to exist in this alien world, not just to survive the bond, but to understand the truth the nurse had whispered. Humans were rare, dangerous, unpredictable, and maybe, just maybe, he could use that to turn fear into strength. The council members leaned forward, their many eyes widening. Whispers ran through the chamber. Humans, powerful beyond reckoning. This one, different. He looked at the nurse, who gave a small nod. Remember, she said, voice calm, steady, but carrying a weight he felt deep in his chest. Humans are not meant to follow the rules. They are meant to break expectations. A surge of determination rose in him. He clenched his fists. Fear was still there, heavy, but beneath it burned a spark of rebellion, a spark of potential. And he realized something terrifying and exhilarating at once. The council did not understand him. They could not predict him. And in that unpredictability, he held the greatest power of all, because he was human, and humans were always dangerous. The arena had fallen silent. The energy construct had vanished, leaving only the hum of the alien machines behind. He stood in the center, breathing heavily, sweat dripping from his brow. His body ached from the exertion, but his mind was sharper than ever. Every instinct, every movement, every thought had been tested and honed. He had survived, and in surviving, he had learned the first truth of this world. Humans were unpredictable. The nurse appeared beside him silently, as if she had always been there. Her eyes, still calm and unblinking, held a hint of something he couldn't quite place. Pride, perhaps, or approval. "You did well," she said softly. "Better than I expected." He shook his head, trying to catch his breath. I don't know what I did. I just moved, reacted, survived." She smiled faintly. "That is exactly what humans do. You act without knowing, yet you adapt. That is your greatest strength." Before he could respond, alarms blared again. Red lights flashed across the chamber, casting long shadows. The council's voice echoed. "The human has passed the trial. Containment protocols will now be enforced. Retrieval is authorized." He froze. "Retrieval? Wait, I thought I passed. What does that mean?" The nurse's expression darkened slightly. "It means they still do not understand. They cannot allow a human to act without supervision. You are too dangerous." Suddenly, the walls shifted, opening like a mouth. Figures emerged, tall, skeletal, black-eyed, moving with silent precision. He recognized them from before, the observers. Their eyes were locked on him, unblinking, cold. Fear surged through him again. He stepped back instinctively. The bond with the nurse tugged at him, reminding him she was near, but it did not protect him from the council's decree. "You will come with us," one of the observers said, voice low and resonant. "Resistance is not permitted." He clenched his fists. I won't go, not without choice." The observer tilted his head. "Choice is irrelevant. Law is law. Words bind. Actions are consequences." His pulse raced. Panic clawed at him. And yet, beneath it, something stirred. Something the nurse had hinted at. Humans were unpredictable. Humans could act beyond expectation. The nurse placed a hand on his shoulder. "You do not need to fight them with force," she whispered. "Use what you learned. Use your mind. Use your instincts. Show them humans cannot be contained by law alone." He inhaled sharply, focused. The bond between him and the nurse hummed faintly in his chest, like a tether connecting him to her. But he realized now, the bond did not control him. It amplified his awareness, his will. He stepped forward, raising his hand slightly. The observers advanced, but as he moved, the floor beneath him shifted. Energy patterns, previously dormant, rose in response to him. Constructs of light and energy formed. Simple shapes at first, but growing, reacting to his intent. The observers halted, eyes widening. He had not spoken a word. He had not commanded. He had merely chosen to survive, to act, to exist on his terms. And the arena itself responded. "Impossible," one of the observers whispered. The nurse's lips curved into a faint smile. "You see, this is the truth of humans. You do not need to follow rules to wield power. You only need to act. Instinct, courage, choice, that is all it takes." He felt a surge of confidence. Every fear, every doubt, every memory of helplessness melted into clarity. He could fight. He could survive. And perhaps he could turn this bond, this strange connection, into something greater than mere survival. The observers hesitated. They had never seen a human influence the arena without words, without tools, without commands. It was beyond their understanding. And for the first time, he realized something exhilarating. He was in control. He moved again, faster this time. Energy constructs rose and fell with him, shaping and shifting according to his intent. He leapt, dodged, spun. The observers watched, powerless to intervene. His instincts, honed by fear and survival, allowed him to manipulate the arena. The nurse followed silently, her eyes never leaving him. "Do not stop," she said softly. Show them who you are. And he did. In a final motion, he raised his hands, and the entire arena pulsed with energy. Lights shimmered, constructs froze midair, and a quiet, vibrating hum filled the chamber. The observers recoiled, shielding their eyes. Even the council members, watching from above, leaned forward, fascinated and horrified. He felt a strange exhilaration. He had not destroyed anyone. He had not used violence. Yet he had asserted control, demonstrated power beyond comprehension. Humans were not tools. Humans were not slaves. Humans were forces of nature, unpredictable, unstoppable, alive. The nurse placed a hand gently on his shoulder. Now, she said softly, you understand. The bond is not chains. It is connection. It is trust. And it is power, yours to wield, yours to choose. He looked at her, breathless, exhilarated. Connection, not control? She nodded. Partnership, not ownership. You chose to survive. You chose to act. And through that choice, we are equals. He swallowed hard. The bond hummed softly, no longer oppressive, no longer controlling. It was alive, yes, but it was no longer a chain. It was a bridge, a partnership forged in trust and choice. The observers retreated silently. The council members exchanged murmurs, unable to comprehend the display. Humans, dangerous beyond prediction, and yet capable of alliance. He exhaled, feeling strength he had never known. He was human, and humans were more than survival machines. Humans were forces of nature. The nurse's eyes softened. You see, she whispered, you do not belong to me. I belong to you, just as you belong to yourself. That is the truth of humans. He nodded, feeling a deep sense of clarity. Fear still lingered, but it was tempered by understanding. Anger, doubt, helplessness. They had been replaced by power and choice. And in that moment, he realized something extraordinary. No law, no bond, no council, no alien force could define a human. Humans define themselves. He stepped forward, hand brushing against the nurse's. For the first time, he smiled, not nervously, not in fear, but with certainty. Then we walked this path together? She smiled, and her voice was soft but resolute. Yes, together, not bound, not controlled, but connected, partners in this world, and whatever comes next. The arena faded behind them. The council watched, silently, unable to intervene. He felt the bond hum softly, a gentle reminder of connection, trust, and newfound power. And as he walked forward, side by side with the nurse, he knew one unshakable truth. Humans were never meant to be controlled. Humans were meant to act, to survive, to challenge, and humans were always dangerous.